Hi, I'm Auntie Sharon, host of Mary's Eclectic Interests. We have a great show for you today. Today I have Gene Nicolelli with me, and he is a volunteer for AARP, AARP. And he's going to tell us about these seminars that he does for helping us to age in our home. Hi, Gene.
Hello, Sharon. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming, because I'm really interested in this, because I have a home and I need to know how to prepare it and get it ready for when I need it.
Wonderful. Hopefully we'll have some good ideas for you.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with AARP?
Well, I am an architect, and I'm licensed in Minnesota and California. I have over 40 years of experience in residential design and single-family and multifamily. I got interested in aging in place, we'll be talking about a number of years ago, and as I researched it, I found that AARP had a lot of good material and such like that. So that's kind of how I kind of got into it. I also, one other added thing is I am also a certified aging in place specialist.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, it's just some additional classes that you take and some tests that you take for certification that specializes more into the aging in place of the home, and what we'll be talking about is things that you can do and such like that. So just a little bit more knowledge-based.
Well, you talk about the aging in place. What does that all mean?
Well, aging in place, if you don't mind, I've got it up on the screen here because I want to make sure I say it correctly, but aging in place is the ability to live in one's home and community in a safe, independent, and comfortable manner, regardless of your age, your income, or your ability.
Oh, okay. So turning my home into something that anybody can live into.
Absolutely. So it's the idea that it makes it more safe and more usable and more adaptable. But safe is the key.
Okay. I think you mentioned the word universal. What does that mean?
Universal. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll tell you what it means. What we have here is a bottle opener, and we have a bottle opener. They both do the exact same thing. If you were given a choice, which one would you choose? Would you choose this one or this one?
Well, probably this one over this one, because it's bigger.
Okay. Why? And what else did you think?
Well, it's got a bigger opening.
Yep.
Maybe easier to be able to open things with.
That is correct.
And it just feels better in the hand.
Absolutely. And would it be safe to say that someone, a small child, could use this and would understand basically how to open up that bottle with just that device versus maybe with that one that has two different ends and it's smaller or not quite knowing?
Definitely.
And then obviously then somebody who's older, maybe in their late 70s, early 80s, where maybe they have arthritis or they don't have that strength, that this one here, because it's longer, gives you more leverage and such like that.
True.
So the idea is it can be used by everybody and anybody.
I like the fact that it has an arch to it, so that when it lays down, I can pick it up easier, because sometimes my fingers have a hard time grabbing onto things.
Yes. Again, if a small child with small fingers or somebody who may have arthritis, again, it just becomes a little bit easier to use.
Another thing is, in our junk drawers where we put things and stuff,
Yes.
this is hard to find. I always have a hard time finding this. This is easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, this is great. So tell me, I understand about universal design with this. How does that relate with the aging in home?
Well, just to back up a little bit, if I may, again, I'll use my computer here to cheat a little bit and describe what universal design is. Very simply, it's design that's usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design. And I think that this example kind of shows you what we're talking about. So when we get back to aging in place, aging in place is really the objective. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to achieve, is to be able to live in our home comfortably and safely. Well, universal design is the tool that gets us to aging in place. So what we'll be talking about and what we'll be looking at and discussing are things that you can do to your home that makes your home more adaptable, but they're all universally designed principles.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the standard of what a home, it used to be or is, and
Very good
this
point.
is what makes it so everybody can use it.
That is a great analogy.
Okay.
Wow, maybe you should be giving this class.
That's great. With my house, the biggest hurdle that I have was getting my mom in and out of the house.
Yes.
Because I have a 1950s home.
Yes.
So we have the 3 steps and then the
Correct.
big threshold.
Correct.
And it's very difficult. And I didn't even think about it when I was moving into the house.
Right. And the most important thing is to make your home livable. Really the first thing you need to address is, how do I get inside my house from the outdoors? And there's a couple different ways you can do that. Depending on how far you are from the lawn to where the floor is. You can either go with a walkway or you could go with a ramp. And it sounds like in your case that you went with the ramp.
Yes.
And there's a lot of guidelines. There's degrees of slope and things like that you take into consideration. But the idea is that you want to get from the street to the house without at least one entry that does not have any steps in it. And what's nice about that is because whether you're in a wheelchair or whether you use a walker or whether you're a young couple that has a baby in a stroller, the idea of eliminating the steps makes it easy to get to the house. So again, I always like to emphasize that aging in place, everybody associates it with old, with as we get older, but what benefits the older person benefits the younger person as well.
And
Universal.
I probably should have thought about it sooner than when my mom needed it.
Yeah, that's just it. It's very natural for all of us, until it happens, don't worry about it.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, when something does happen, then you're in a panic mode and you're trying to look for every shortcut you can.
Yes.
And if you can address it earlier, then that way it's in place. And the thing is, whether you ever need to use it or not, it's always there, but it just makes it easier to use.
Right.
So when something does happen, it becomes more critical, it's already in place.
So now that I know that, if I knew that beforehand when I was looking for the house, I probably would have bought one with a lower threshold.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a set of, I would like to say that everybody should have a one-level home, but that's not realistic in terms of costs and such like that. But that's actually our ideal situation. And given what we can and cannot, what your circumstances are, it's a little bit sometimes easier said than done. But yes, at the very least, if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a home, just the idea to think about it. Okay, you may have some challenges, but if you go in there kind of knowing, well, what to look for or where the challenges are, then it's not saying you're gonna not buy that home, but at least you'll say, okay, I can do this, I can do that without too much of a cost factor or such like that.
Right. Yeah, that would have been made a big difference to me if I would have went in looking with those kind of eyes.
Yes.
Instead of waiting until my mom needed it or maybe I needed it and that. And that brings me to now that, we have the ramp, so I can get her in and out.
Wonderful.
But now trying to get her, she has a little walker that she uses in the house, trying to get it in through the doors.
Yes.
Especially the bathroom.
Yes, that is very challenging. My mother had that exact same issue. And what I found are there's these hinges called swing hinges that we happen to have.
I bought them because I heard about it, so I bought them.
Wonderful.
But can you tell me about them?
Well,
how to use it?
I'll explain it. I'll just grab one here. But basically, a normal door, if you've got like a 2'4" door or 2'6" door is nominal size. However, when you open up the door, when you take into consideration the hinge, you're going to lose, and then the thickness of the door, you lose up to 2 to 2.5 inches of that space. So instead of having a 2.6 door, you may have a 2.4 door or less, or 2.4 door to 2.2 door. And those 2 inches makes a big difference.
Big difference.
And especially if you have a walker. When my mother was getting in and out with her walker, we had a 2-foot door getting into the bathroom, which was very difficult. But by using these swing hinges, the door was able to open up wide, and she could get in and out with the walker. Now, how this works, I'm not sure, it's kind of hard to explain here, but the idea that if you can imagine, this is where the door, the panel is located here, and then this is where is secured to the jamb. So when you have the door closed, it's like a normal door, but because the hinge is over in this location, when you open up the door, it gets it totally out of the way, so now you've got nothing blocking that door, so you've captured that 2 inches of space again.
Oh, that would make so much more of a difference.
It's really
Yes.
interesting how much space that 2 inches makes.
Yes, definitely. Well, I can't wait to try these out and so I can try to get her into the bathroom with the walker.
Absolutely. It's most helpful, and it's very inexpensive. You can do it yourself. You don't have to hire anybody to do it. And it's...
So they just go right into the holes that are already there from...
It's exactly correct.
Okay.
So it doesn't require any kind of specialized training or anything like that. You just take off the old hinges, and those got three holes for the screws, and the same 3 holes that are on a regular hinge, and you just remove one, put them back in, and you're off and running. And
wow.
if you're really fast and got an electric screwdriver, you can get it done in 10 minutes.
Oh, well, I can't wait because we really need that extra space in that. It's even helpful for me to have that extra space.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. You'll be pleased. Your mother will be pleased.
The other thing too about the bathroom is the grab bars.
Yes, yes. The nice thing is that with grab bars, that because they're not required in residences like they are in commercial buildings where you have a commercial restroom.
Right.
So what's nice about it is grab bars don't have to look like the institutional grab bars that you see in commercial buildings. However, there are some challenges, especially if you're trying to retrofit, if you're coming in after the fact. And the thing is, you usually want to have a backing, something that you can adhere to, like what they call blocking between the studs and such like that.
Oh.
But you normally, if you're trying to retrofit something that's already existing, it's difficult. But what they have is they have a product, it's called a winglet, and that's kind of a generic term that a lot of different manufacturers make this. But it's actually a device that that when you drill the hole in your wall, and then you insert this device, and then it's with a screw, it opens up in the back. So it provides the strong, secure hold that you need. Because a grab bar supposedly, per the ADA, requires a 250 pounds on it.
Okay.
So by doing that, using the winglet, you will capture that. You have to be careful to look at the brands, of course.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing a remodeling, you're starting from scratch. You've got the studs open and such like that. Then you have the ability to either put blocking in, or what I will do a lot of times is I will actually put a 1/2 inch of plywood on all the walls where I know where the grab bars are going to go to, and then I put drywall over that. So now I can put that grab bar anywhere I want, at any angle I want. I can do anything I want, and I know that there's going to be a solid surface to secure it to.
I do have a question though about the grab bars. The material that the grab bars are made out of, are some of them real cheap and some are...
Some of them are real cheap. I would definitely advise whatever you choose, go with some that's metal, not the plastic.
Metal,
the plastic
okay.
has a lot, like the PVC piping, it has a lot of play in it. I've seen those.
Okay.
And frankly, they just look ugly.
Okay.
And if you go online and you look at grab bars residential, like I say, there's so many are attractive, you don't even know that they're grab bars.
Oh, okay,
They're
sure.
integrated, they look like tall racks. so you can put you can actually hang towels on them.
Oh, that's cool.
They have different shapes and forms. They're very attractive, come in a number of different colors.
Nice.
So it's pretty wonderful, and it doesn't
Nice.
have to look institutionalized, and that's the key
Yeah,
with
that's
residence. You
nice.
want your residence to still look like a residence,
Right.
not like a hospital.
Right, that's true, yeah. And then grab bars, what about grab bars going down your steps too? Or, not grab bars, but they're,
Handrails.
handrails, yeah.
Now, stairs are a different kind of a situation. Let me see if I can get this right. When I give my seminar, I always have to think about it. The greatest cause of accidents leading to death for people over the age of 65 are stairs.
Really?
Yes, stairs are not our friend.
Yeah.
At any age, really.
Yeah, right.
But it becomes more difficult. Now, in commercial buildings, you'll notice that there's a handrail on both sides
Yes.
of the stairs. Well, in residence, the code only requires
That's right.
it on one side. So the very simplest thing you can do, again, you can do it yourself, is to add that second handrail. Again, I did this for my mother and at her home. And the thing, what's nice about it is residential stairs are about 3 feet to 42 inches wide. So the thing is, you don't have you don't have to reach to grab them. They're in a comfortable, regardless of your height and build and stuff, it's easy to grab. So by just having that second handrail and being able to use that as a guide, it gives you that much more security as you go up or down the stairs.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Yeah, with my older house, in the 50s, and they made the railings a little bit lower too.
Yes.
So do you
Yes.
have to be careful? Is there standards of how high they're supposed to be?
There are standards, and what I would probably say is, I could sit here and quote you the code, as it's what the height has to be, but actually, the whole idea of aging in place and living in your home as long is you adapt it to your needs.
Sure.
If you're a taller person, maybe that handrail needs to be taller.
Okay.
If you're a shorter person, why not lower it? There's no specific rules other than the guardrail for that you have to have if you have it open on one side. But
Right.
the other handrail, can be whatever it needs to be.
And with my mom, she can't go up and down the stairs anymore either.
Yes.
So we're looking into a chairlift.
Yes, chair. There's a lot of different ways of approaching that. Well, not a lot. 3 ways of approaching that. There's a stair lift. There's a vertical lift, which is somebody who's in a wheelchair that they have actually platforms that you can drive a wheelchair up on and go
that's
up.
right. Yeah, like an elevator.
And an elevator.
Okay.
The vertical lift
Yeah.
is like in between an elevator and a chairlift. But yes, that is, I've installed those in homes, and I've seen them in a lot of homes, and they are very helpful and such like that. So
Right.
costs vary depending if you have a nice straight run, that's the least expensive. Obviously, if you have a switchback, then it becomes a little bit more expensive and stuff. But it's a very good solution as well.
These older homes, they're split. You've got your laundry services in the basement, and then you got your bedrooms on the first floor, and that's something too that I guess I didn't even realize that I should have looked at when I was first buying the home, because the universal design you're talking about is like everything is on the main floor, right?
I did the perfect situation. Again, whether and again, it's easier said than done as you're starting a family and how, depending on how long you're going to live in the home and such like that. But the idea is to be able to have what they call one-level living. Whereas obviously we already have our living, dining, kitchen that's on the main
Yes.
level, but also you want to have a bedroom, at least a 3/4 bathroom, which is basically a bathroom that has just a shower in it.
Oh, okay.
And then, versus a full tub shower combination. And then get a line and get your washer and dryer on that main level as well.
Okay.
A lot of different ways to do this. Maybe it's something, it's like, okay, my bedrooms are on the upstairs, but maybe when I've got a powder room or something on the main level, maybe as you're looking for that home, maybe, okay, if I have to change that powder room, is there some space I can rob from one place to other place? Maybe this home that you're looking at may have a den in it, or a library or something. Can I possibly convert that into a bedroom down the road, worst case scenario, should I have to? Or do I have a formal dining room that is rarely going to ever be used or whatever? Again, I can possibly convert that dining room into a bedroom down the road.
Right.
So it's the idea, again, trying to think ahead, and hopefully, and then if the need comes, you know that you have a plan for that.
Right. The other thing too I wanted to ask you, these seminars that you do,
Yes.
where do you do them?
Well, actually, what I do is different organizations will contact the AARP office and say that they would like to have the HomeFit seminar, and then the AARP then contacts me, and then I make arrangements with that organization. One thing that's I do want to stress is that the seminar is free. There's no fees involved, and that I encourage any organizations, church groups, senior centers, clubs. It's really open to anybody that is interested in the subject. Basically, all I need is a room and a screen to give my presentation to, and I'll take over from there. But so that would be how I would start that.
And so at your seminars, you get more in depth about.
That is correct.
The things we've
I
been
actually
talking about.
have two seminars. I have the long version, which is about an hour and a half. So the things that we talked about today is just scratching the surface. There's a lot of more in-depth information that I provide people. And then I have a shorter version, which is a 1 hour version where I cut out a few little pieces, but try to keep the more important ones in there. So if you only have an hour to spare, I can accommodate you.
Okay. So all I have to do is call up AARP and then find out if I don't have like a business or a place of work that is doing it, I can find out where there is some around as an individual.
I believe so, yes. I know that libraries have community centers that they if you live in that community, that you can rent out, or they'll give it to you at no cost. And so there are those types of areas. Like I said, I know that there's senior centers and such like that. So there are those types of venues that are available.
Okay. And I got your book that you you use these books at your seminar.
If you attend my seminar, you will get one of these little booklets, which is it's just kind of it gives you some tips and ideas. Talks about some of the things that we talked about today, and it covers some of the things I give on the seminar.
Okay. Now, if someone can't make it to the seminar, how can they get one of these books?
Good question. Basically, if you go to aarp.org /HomeFit, it'll take you to the page where you can actually order this or download this right off of the computer, this actual brochure. In addition to that, they also have different checklists, items that you can, for each room. And again, things to consider when you're talking about what you would have been nice to have had when you prior to purchasing your home.
Right.
So there's just a lot of wonderful information on that page that is accessible to you that you can download. You do not have to be a member of AARP. This is for the publics, so anybody can download this information. So I would encourage anyone who's considering making improvements to their homes to check out this website.
Yeah, and I really like this book. This is great. It really gives you some information of things you can actually do room by room, and it has checklists that you can go through. And I like the fact that it asks you questions about what is your house like now, and you check off, and oh, this is a problem, I better look into it, kind of a thing. So I really like this, so I can't wait to go do some of these things that we talked about today. So Gene, tell me, what happens if the people do not have a computer and they can't go find it and they can't print it out online?
Then I would probably suggest that they contact AARP, the Minnesota branch, and call them and ask, and just ask the person that they either direct you to or the receptionist, and just say, I would like to get a copy of the HomeFit guide, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to take your name and address and mail one out to you.
Okay, there's an 800 number?
Yes, I believe there is an 800 number, but that will take you to the national, and I think the national will also be able to assist you. I'll be honest with you, I haven't checked that out, but I'm pretty sure that you could go national, and that they would send it to you as well.
So either the national or the local Minnesota one?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe that both entities are available. Yeah.
That's great. I am so excited. This has been just a great time. I've enjoyed meeting you and learning all about ways that I can make my home more age appropriate for myself as I'm aging, so I can stay in my home because I love my home and that. So
Wonderful.
I thank you so much for coming.
Well, again, thank you for having me, and remember, aging in place isn't just for the old, it's for the young as well, so it works for everybody.
That's right.
Senior, whether you're a senior in high school or whether you're a senior in life,
That's great.
aging in place is important for everyone.
That's right. I love that comment. So I want to thank you all for stopping by and check out. Don't forget to call the 800 number and check out about the aging in home and maybe one of the seminars that you can go to. So I'm Auntie Sharon, host of Mary's Eclectic Interests. Thank you for coming by. See you next time.